All right. Well, Behavior yesterday released a very interesting developer update talking about their plans for the Finisher Mori or Finishing Mori. So, yeah, I just figured I'd go ahead and give my opinion on that because, for something as basic as Finisher Mori, it's there are a few things that I want to talk about here. So, first of all, it's important to note that while it will be in the upcoming PTB, which should be next week, it's not actually going to be in the patch. This is sort of a pre-test, like a very early test, so they can know what to adjust. Which is good. This is a good thing. A lot of people are saying, a lot of people are freaking out, but they don't realize it's not coming in the next patch. This is a very early test that we're getting to do, and I really appreciate this behavior. All right, so first things first. We have Last Standing. When all other survivors are dead, dying, hooked, or have escaped, you become the last standing. Both you and the killer's senses are heightened, blah blah blah, granting a wider field of view. Rescuing will end last standing, but being downed will trigger finishing Mori. Alright. Not a... I'm not sure how I feel about the wider field of view during last standing. I'm very comfortable with the default 87 degrees. Some people might not be comfortable with that, and they may appreciate last standing, and there might be some who just get messed up by the field of view shifts. So, kind of hope that might be optional, but we'll see. When the last survivor is downed, trial will draw to a climactic end. Both will be moved to a preset point on the map, free of obstructions, and the Mori will begin. Any survivor still in the trial will be killed by the entity and treated as a sacrifice. Okay. So... you get everyone down and boom, you win. And this is where things get a little, iffy because of a certain... yeah. However, in exchange for that, survivors now have a base kit unbreakable after 45 seconds. And this can be done infinite numbers of times. This time is affected by recovery speed effects. Ouch. Yeah, yeah, this is gonna really hurt for a few killers. Twins have a chance to escape this. They're coming up on an update. But if the update doesn't manage to make them less reliant on slugging, they are going to be horribly screwed by this. Oni, Myers, they're going to need buffs for sure to compensate the loss of slug pressure. Sadako's entire condemned playstyle, which is really the only thing she had going for her, has effectively been removed with this because and the whole thing is just because you no longer need somebody else to come pick you up. Sure, it can be good to do that, but it's no longer needed. Which means you can just continue cranking away on generators because you'll know the person will get up. I really don't know how I feel about this. I feel like this is going to mess with a lot of killers. Like, even the killers that aren't necessarily directly reliant on slugging, they're going to have a less than stellar time because these lower tier killers, they rely heavily on slugging and forcing people off of gens to go save in order to build up any sort of pressure. And this is just going to make that particular method of gaining pressure evaporate. I'm calling it now. This is going to bring a lot more tunneling into the game. You're going to see a lot more proxy camping. Like, this whole thing. I think this has a lot of potential to be very unhealthy. I also want to point out something that's going to affect every killer is that it makes situations where someone might be nearby with a flashlight or hovering around for the pallet save. Unless you have a very strong chase that can literally end it like in less than 30 seconds. That turns any situation like that into a lose-lose. There's nothing you can do in those situations anymore. If you slug for pressure, well, you don't really get any pressure out of it. And if you don't slug, they get the save pretty much for free. So yeah, and I also just want to point out, map design in this game is bad, and that applies even to hook spawns. Like, bad basement, you frequently can't make it to a hook, unless, you break the god wall, which you never want to do. Or Midwich, when you get that hallway that's completely barren of hooks because everything's spawned on the other floor. Cool. Once survivors figure that out, they're just going to run over there and die there every time because they can just pick themselves back up regardless. Yeah, I get what they're going for. They're trying to remove those situations with the 4-minute bleed outs. But man, we're going to have to see some massive changes to hook RNG. And yeah, we're going to have to see some more just maps in general. And probably some buffs to some of the lower tier killers, like, again, Myers. He was a low tier killer who was also a slugging snowball killer. He just got wiped. I'd even say even Doctor is a bit of a slugging killer. Anyways, moving on from that, we have perk updates. And yeah. The ability to pick yourself up, blah blah blah. I mean, those have been removed as they're part of base kit. And now this part right here, I really hate. The ability to Mori survivors has been removed from Rancor and Devour Hope. Why? That was literally the reason to run either of those perks. Both of those perks are no longer worth running, in my opinion. Okay, Devour Hope, to be fair, it's gotten a change. It's not the worst. Once 5 tokens have been earned, any survivor placed on a hook is instantly sacrificed. But it's just boring. They took all the fun out of Devour Hope, man. All of it. I hate it. It's slightly weaker, but not much. Like, it's still about the same strength. But man, it's just bland. It's ugh. Rancor, that's not even a perk anymore. That's just worse Noed with a tacky bitter murmur attached. It's awful now. And Unbreakable is now double recovery speed, which yeah, you know how I was talking about those situations, where it's just lose-lose because somebody's hovering around? Yeah, if the downed guy has Unbreakable, you only have 22 and a half seconds to chase the other guy off and get the pickup. That is, yeah, just don't be surprised when you start seeing a lot more camping and tunneling. Because that is malarkey. And finally, we have the Mori changes, which I understand if some people are annoyed by it. I don't mind either way. However, it is kind of hilarious that you're more likely to get more blood points out of a yellow survivor pudding than you are out of an iridescent ebony Mori. That's just dumb. Alright, and then, yeah. They will be part of next week's public test build. Yeah, it is next week. But they will not be part of the main update. I am curious to see what the actual update itself will hold, but yeah, overall, I see what they're going for. I do. And it's not bad, it's just not thought out very well. A lot of killers are going to be impacted more negatively by this than they think. And you're going to start seeing a lot more. The way it really feels is that this is a nerf's buff. Like, this is a nerf to killers like Michael Myers and Sadako, but a buff to killers like Nurse? Like, why? Like, an unlucky Haunted Grounds proc can literally end the entire game against a nurse now, and I don't know how I feel about that. Like, it could already bring the game pretty close to an end, but I'm talking like a full-blown no way out of the, yeah, no way to come back. I don't know. I don't know. And with the whole Finisher Mori thing, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I personally am not very hopeful. If anything, my hope is that they'll reconsider some of this. For example, removing the Moris from Rancor and Devour Hope. That's just awful. I'm sorry. That is blatantly awful. Base Kit Unbreakable. Yeah, that's gonna destroy pretty much any killer that relies on snowballing. You're going to see, yeah. Anyways, that's been my and I'm not saying that these are inherently bad changes. Okay. These I'd say are inherently bad changes, but besides that, the base kit Unbreakable, the whole Finisher Mori in general. While I will miss being able to take survivors to the hatch, it is not by any means a bad setup. Yeah, mostly I think that this just buffs the killer. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. That's pretty much how it feels. In their attempt to kind of prevent those 4-minute bleedouts, which are unfortunate, they wound up creating a system in which low-tier killers who had to slug for pressure, or snowball killers who had to rely on slugging to do anything, kind of got screwed, and killers who were already really strong, like Nurse and Blight, just got more opportunities to end the game even faster. And I forgot to mention, just so it doesn't seem like I'm just complaining without offering possible changes, one thing that'd be a very interesting way to deal with this is to just make it so that the Hope is Not Lost system doesn't activate until last standing. Like, you can have your recovery 99, but until last standing, you cannot pick yourself up. That makes sense. Like, the second last standing starts, boom, maybe you have like a 10-second grace period where everyone can go ahead and get themselves up. But outside of that, I think if last standing isn't active, then perhaps the new Hope is Not Lost system should also be inactive. Alright, well, that's kind of my suggestion on balancing out the infinite use personal unbreakables. But anyways, that's been my little rant. I will say I probably won't be playing Dead by Daylight until I hear that the IP leak situation has been fixed. But until then, I'll probably find something else to fill the Friday slots. Not sure what, though, admittedly. But yeah, until next time, this has been Proselyte Primus.